You might have heard about an increase in foreclosures in the news lately, and that may have you worried that we're heading for a housing crash like we saw back in 2008. But things are wildly different this time. Let me break it down for you. This graph shows the number of foreclosure filings is near an all-time low, even with a slight increase over last year. When the housing market crashed back in 2008, there was an oversupply of homes for sale. Part of that oversupply came from foreclosures. You can see that increase in foreclosures if you look at the peak of this graph. But today, the number of foreclosure filings is low by comparison. The only time when foreclosures were significantly lower than this year was during the foreclosure moratorium that happened during the pandemic. That's the white bars in the graph. And with that moratorium over, we're seeing a very expected rise in foreclosures today. But even with that, there's fewer homes in foreclosure than usual, and much fewer than there were during the housing crash of 2008, which I was in the business for. You're probably saying to yourself, well, Joe, that's great information, but it doesn't really apply to where I live. So let's bring it closer to home. Let's talk about DuPage County, where there's 29 cities. I think that casts a pretty wide net to cover a local discussion. In DuPage, homes listed as pre-foreclosure, which just means the property owner is late in their mortgage payment and has received a notice of default from the lender. Those properties account for just 0.22% of residential properties in DuPage County. Bank-owned homes, or homes that have already been foreclosed upon, account for just 0.01% of properties in DuPage County. That's a wildly different pattern than we saw ahead of 2008. The data shows that this clearly is not a repeat of 2008. Today, most homeowners even have enough equity to avoid foreclosure at this time. If you have any questions, let's connect.